Thank you, Vivian, for platforming today.
Thank you all. We're going to have our statement of truth. Start with here. There is only one presence, one power, active in the universe and in my life. God the good, the omnipotent. And our vision statement. Centered in God, we co-create a community and world that works for all.
Good morning. Namaste. So today, the daily word is joy-filled spirit. I am joy-filled and radiant. These words to a popular unity hymn perfectly express the deep and boundless joy in my soul. I am the radiant life of God. I am. Divine happiness is my birthright, and I express that radiant happiness in many ways. Through a warm smile I share with others, through my uplifting words, and through the helpful actions I take on behalf of others. Like a cork that floats to the surface, my soul is naturally inclined to rise up in a state of joy. I don't let negativity hold me down. Instead, I'm buoyed up by my relationship with God. Amen to that, right?
Amen.
My connection to Spirit helps me live from a joy-filled awareness. I am energized and uplifted. The joy I feel in my soul is an expression of the radiant life of God that courses through my being. Let me hear joy and gladness, is the scripture. Psalm 51:8.
All right, I'm just going to let everybody invite you to stand, and we're going to do one of our fun little songs. We got a new one. The one we tried last week, nobody could see. So we're going to, as far as the words, we're going to...
There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you. All that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are,
are so welcome here, and I'll greet your neighbors with a handshake or a hug, or sit if you feel called to do that. Bring ourselves into and lower the lights just a little, if anybody would like.
I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this day as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. I will leave this life as it is, go inside to find
my God. I will leave this life as it is, go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God.
I'd like to just open the next portion of our meditation day. It's going to be led by Claudia, Reverend Claudia. And as you know, sometimes we home, sometimes we take things in a progressive manner, sometimes we're reaching out in a new way today. So enjoy this old hymn, enjoy the meditation, and I'm going to turn it over to Claudia, Reverend Claudia.
I was introduced to this hymn in the prayer ministry training. And I want you to take this time. If you know the words, then you can join him. But let's allow it to set the atmosphere for our meditation this morning. So the video, Here I Am, Lord.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry. All who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them, they turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my words to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
Charles Fillmore said that the deepest desire of our heart is to feel the presence of God and to know the love of God. It creates a yearning in us that is so strong that it can disrupt our sleep without our knowing exactly what it is we hear or feel. So I invite you now to join with me as we enter into that silent place within. We begin by breathing in and out slowly and deeply. Together, I breathe in slowly, deeply, filling the very depths of my soul with the breath of God. And as I release and let go that breath, anything that is less than perfect is removed. Breathing in and breathing out, I am open to the flow of life that cleanses, that heals, that renews. I breathe in the very breath of love, love that warms my heart, love which opens me to God's presence, God's awareness and understanding. And I release anything which is less than love. I breathe in the breath of life, life that uplifts me, life that clears my mind, life which restores me, renews me, and gives me hope, gives me a new path to follow. I let go and release anything less than the life of God. I breathe in peace, peace that fills me to overflowing, peace which allows me to release, to relax, to let go into the silence. Let go into the silence. The deep longing of my soul is filled to overflowing with the awakening to Christ consciousness. And I affirm with joy and thanksgiving that here I am, Lord. I am open to your love, to your joy, to your power, and to the glory that fills me to overflowing, so that I, too, am a light unto all the world. And it is good. Amen. And now the words of the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory, forever. Amen.
Okay, so today, we have so many people working together, so it's just going lots of great places. Self-awareness and vulnerability. Self-awareness and vulnerability. In school, in Unity, you know, when you first get there, they're like, okay, where's your self-awareness? Where is your, you know, where are you in your spiritual growth? And sometimes you're like, I don't know where I am. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. What do those words mean? And what I'm finding is there's this thing called vulnerability. Ever heard of it? We're actually doing a class on it on Wednesday nights now, and the class has actually been really powerful. Many of you have been in it. It's been a well-attended class, so I invite you, if you ever want to come on Wednesday nights, we do our potluck at 6 o'clock, and then we're learning how to take vulnerability and the tools of it as taught by Brene Brown, and out of this book here, Daring Greatly. It's just so powerful to understand how vulnerability can be used and where it came from in our lives. So today I just thought I would hit on it a lot, because we are getting to a place where I am seeing a lot of us becoming and willing to become more and more vulnerable, because in that is our power. It's not what we thought it was growing up. It's nothing to fear. It's something that once we embrace it, there's a lot of power in it. And I like this quote from Brene Brown. Vulnerability is the core of shame and fear and our struggle for worthiness. A lot of words packed in there. But it appears that it is also the birthplace of joy, creativity, of belonging, and of love. So when we start digging through vulnerability, and we get to the places in our life where we're making significant changes, significant alterations to how we were brought up, what we thought about ourselves, or what society or other people made us feel about ourselves, becomes very, very powerful. Vulnerability and the power it holds within us, these are things that lead us to feeling vulnerable in not such a healthy place, that maybe we shielded as we began our life journey. And you can raise your hand or just hold it inside if any of these relate to any feelings that you may have had in your life. But appearance and body image, did that ever bring up anything for you through our wonderful media outlets? I'm assuming it brought it all up for all of us. Money and work, how much did we make? Are we good enough? You know, do we make enough to qualify as successful or whatever? Did we have the kind of work that people would look up to and respect us from, rather than just being who we are and doing that passionate work? Motherhood and fatherhood, you know, where did we receive some of our training about, you know, can I speak my truth, or should I hold it back and be very quiet about it because somebody might be offended, or I don't have the courage to reach out in love and share who I am, that we learn from our families. Parenting, mental and physical health. We all go through a lot of those different stages where mental and physical health shifts within us, depending on a relationship, depending on a family experience. Addictions, sex, aging, religion, surviving trauma, being stereotyped or labeled. All those things we're familiar with. And all of those things led us to a place where we didn't necessarily want to be vulnerable in our life, did we? We had to build up a wall to protect ourselves because we didn't know better. We didn't understand that we were okay, that we were loved, that we are all that came from creation. And it is perfect in that, especially if we have the tools to use it. And what we call those here in Unity, we call those universal principles and universal laws. And that's what we learn about on a weekly basis, or we do classes. Oops. Okay, I'm going. Okay. Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate that. So, Brene Brown talks about being a Viking or a victim. A significant group of research participants indicated they had very little use for the concept of vulnerability. She took two groups of people and she said, do you think there's a place for vulnerability, or do you not think there's a place for vulnerability? Does it serve you in any way? Well, half of the people said what emerged from the interviews of these people was that the ones that said there's no place for vulnerability in my life, was that their responses to the idea that vulnerability might have value ranged from dismissive to defensive to hostile. It really brings up things in people. If you're going to be vulnerable, if you're not able to look into someone's eyes, if you're not able to sit next to them because you've got something going on with that person, you might want to dismiss this, right? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have to look in someone's eyes and love them and speak to their hearts when I can't go there. And it doesn't mean you're bad or you're wrong. It means it's something you're still working on. We're still working on these kind of things because they're so deeply embedded within ourselves that it's just hard to be who we are and be loving about it. We've all been there. No one's any different. No one's any better than the other. We're all on this journey. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here. I was doing a meditation the other night and was actually laying in bed with my dog and was in such great appreciation, and it brought around to me how I was inspired by an animal, by the love of an animal, and in my case, dog spelled backwards is God. And when we express ourselves in such love to where there is nothing else in the way of love, our creativity within us just explodes and it shines. And because when you're in that love, there's no room for fear. There's no room for anything except vulnerability. It's not there. There's no need in it. So I looked into the mirror, I got up, and I was just really in this beautiful state of processing. And I looked in the mirror and this is what I saw. And I said, this is what I want to bring to the service this week. I want to bring to you 30 days of service from this time to the next 4 weeks of services. I want us to look at how vulnerable can we be. What I was given was to look for myself. How much service can I give? How much can I just reach out and be vulnerable with myself and say, how can I help you? For the next 30 days, would you like to take that journey with me? And let's just reach out and see how we are transformed, because in service, in love, in vulnerability, we will see some more amazing things happen within us. The more we serve, the more we get back. And we're not doing it because we're looking for anything to get back. We've just learned now through that oneness that when we do it, this is naturally what happens. We are returned in multifold of whatever it is that we are. Things just start coming to us. Why are we having these experiences was one of the things that that really came to me. Why are we having these experiences? What is the purpose? And I was watching this video of what it looks like, what it's looked like on this planet. Have you ever wondered what it was? We talk about reincarnation sometimes, right? We talk about how many times do we come back. And Charles Fillmore and some of the other great teachers talk about in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, they have all those names listed of all the people that ever kind of walked the earth and let's say the Bible. Let's use the Bible for this one. And Mary and Jesus and John and Peter and Methuselah and whoever. What I'm learning is that, and I think this is even in Buddhist tradition too, Joshua can verify this for me a little bit, but as we go through the journey, we experience each one of those names in this book in a metaphysical sense. We experience what that name is, and it's almost coming to a realization for me that as I experience those, once I get one, I get to go to the next one, and I get to go to the next one, and I get to go to the next one, and I get to have all these understandings, not only of the people, but of the places. Top of the mountain, in the river, down the street, a tree, a rock. I get to experience all of the aspects when I'm ready of each of those words that have some kind of interpretation in our lives for our own healing. And in that, I bring it up because all of this vulnerability has to show up for us to grow through it, right? We're not just going to be given a name and get it. It's not quite that easy. We're going to be given a process that we have to work through till we understand what that means. And once we get it, that spiral begins to move us forward so that when we come back around that spiral, we don't have to have the same lesson again. We get to move on up to the next lesson, and we learn and we grow. But the question that came to me was, okay, let's say it's becoming, more and more evident that places like Atlantis were real. Lemuria was real, maybe. I mean, I don't know for sure, right? But all of the things that we're being said. So if we have had civilization and it dies, the whole thing gets blown up or it disappears or gets covered up, and then we uncover it a million years later or whatever. Why did the civilizations continue to go away? And why? Were some of the questions I asked. Why were the people not wise enough, and did they not go to their spiritual beingness to be saved as a society or as a world? Why has this happened over and over and over? And why in our Bibles and our dictionaries and our truths and our thoughts have we all not ascended yet? Why? These are questions we ask ourselves, right? We just ask these questions, and it's good to ask the questions because it helps us explore our vulnerability to why am I not good enough? Why has this not happened yet? You are good enough. But it does make us ask this question. So I kind of started viewing it as like, okay, in this human existence, my little vacations to get out and see nature might right now be going to the mountains. They might be going to the ocean. I go there and I get relaxed and I process and I get to experiment with my life and heal myself from all the things. What if, as a human living this, as a spiritual being living this human existence, what if every time that we've gone through civilizations, we're doing the same thing as maybe going to the beach, but on a microcosm or a macrocosm level, as an entire society, as an entire population, as an entire being and understanding in that frequency or that vibration of where humanity is at that time. That it has to be washed away, the planet has to be cleansed so that we can come back as an entire new civilization at possibly a higher frequency. Don't we go away to the ocean and to the beaches to get reignited, to get our energy back? So everything of the microcosm is of the macrocosm. So doesn't it make sense that we take our little, it makes it sound trivial, doesn't it? But it's not. That we take our time to go to the ocean or the beach or wherever we're going to for healing or to a class, our little human things that we're doing right here. But as an entire, let's take it to the next level, as an entire population of humanity, of God's children, of the source of souls, that we do it civilization after civilization. It's just something to think about. So a lot of growing and a lot of power in that. Unlike some participants, and now we get back a little bit about why people think they need to be vulnerable or not vulnerable. Unlike some participants who had an intellectual or theoretical issues with the value of vulnerability, these folks shred the belief that everyone without exception belongs to one of two, mutually exclusive groups. Either you're a victim of life, we can all relate to that at some point, a sucker or a loser who's always being taken advantage of and can't hold your own. Or you're a Viking, someone who sees the threat of being victimized, because it happened to us when we were younger, right? Sees the threat of being victimized as constant, so you stay in control. You dominate. You exert power over things. And you might go around the doors to do that. Or you might just exert power and it's my way and it's going to be my way and that's it. Over things you never show vulnerability. So Renee Brown, and this is the things we're learning on, we're working on Wednesday night, is how do we release that? How do we release what we grew up with that was so intimidating and so painful that we chose to be one of these two kinds of personalities? So we didn't have to be hurt anymore, and we didn't even have to think about being vulnerable. But what did we miss along the way? Next, please. We missed our vulnerability. And that is where all of our strength and power lies. And we're finding that the more intuitive we become. So, are you ready to do the following things? And I bring this up because we are heading into our second year and we have a beautiful energy happening in this space with the people. You saw it when you were hugging and handshaking and you're feeling it. I'm feeling it now like I haven't felt it since I've been here. It just keeps growing. It keeps expanding. And that's what we're talking about. That's the love that we want in this place. That we can reach out and we can go over to Karen's and we can have an amazing weekend with Bob Seema, learning and growing. And it's not about us or them. It's not about, oh, well, I can't go over to that church. No, it is about us going over to that church. It's about us supporting the other unity. It's about them supporting us. It's about us going to Karen's. It's about all of us expanding and being vulnerable to not worry that if I'm called to do something, because we see that all the time here, that it's all going to fall apart. Because it's not going to fall apart. Because we're building something so much stronger. So much stronger. Are you ready to sit next to someone rather than across from them? I'm willing to put the problem in front of us rather than between us. I'm ready to look at it rather than causing conflict between our souls so it doesn't feel good. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to ask questions and accept that I may not fully understand the issues. Do we always understand everyone's perspective of where they're coming from so that we can make a wise decision about the entire group moving forward? Well, that's where we are. That's where we are here in this space in unity. And we are holding the space as we want to for not just this space, but for Unity of the Mountains and for Karen's place and for Joshua and the land that they're on, looking at doing what they're going to do with community, but all of us being able to come back here and support each other in the most loving ways possible and letting go of our need to control any of it. Well, I'm not going to go there because it could hurt me. What? That's old thinking. It's an old paradigm. I'm not going to move in that direction because it might scare me to a place and I want to control it. And if I'm a good Viking or if I'm a good controller of my energy, that certainly won't happen here. The lesson is when we try to control it, it controls us and it will destroy us. There is no more room for control is what we're being taught in the new age of the Aquarian. There's no room for control. We can set our boundaries. We know what works for us. We know we come as an expression of something. So we set those boundaries, but we set them lovingly. We become the love, not the power to control. And every time we try to control one little ounce of what we're doing, it falls apart, doesn't it? That's not how it used to be in my memory. I used to control things in that old world. And I could go out and say, okay, here's my program, here's my way of doing business, and I'm going to do this, and this, and it's all going to happen. And it happened a lot of times, didn't it? But did it create the life we wanted? Maybe it did back then, but in this new paradigm, no one's saying it works that way anymore. Because we're all experiencing it, so we're letting it go. I want to acknowledge what you will do well instead of picking apart my mistakes. Can I just acknowledge you for what you do well? Do I need to bring up your mistakes? Do I need to complain about what I didn't like about you or what you did or how you're doing it? Why can't I just support it and then come out in loving ways and learn to speak and look into our eyes and express ourselves beautifully? This is the place we're going with our new board elections and the direction we want to take this center out into the community, not just for us, but out into the community as a whole. I just thought this was a really good time to bring this up because in a few weeks we have it. Next week we're going to be going over all the surveys of all the ideas, and we're going to be transparent. We're just going to say these are everybody's thoughts and they're all valid. They're all valid. But how do we want to handle it? So we're going to raise our hands and we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. What strikes you here? Next week is really important, people. So I hope you will tell everybody, please be here if you can, because we are going to begin to set a direction for the next 12 months at least of where Unity is going. Because we're going to take those surveys, we're going to look at them, we're going to analyze them and say, well, maybe that was one person and maybe it's a whole group. Now, if it's a whole group of people wanting to make a shift, then it's time to make some shifts. If you've got one person with a perception or an attitude about something that they're holding that they want to control or they believe is true or even loving, we want to look at all these things and we want to see what's ready for all of us, what's percolating, what's ready to be birthed out of these great, great loving comments that have come in. And they may not always look loving, right? Because it could be some of that other stuff we're talking about. And then you look at yourself. You say, am I willing to let go of things that might serve the greater good, but maybe just doesn't serve me personally? Was this the second part of that? Yeah, next one, please. Okay, I recognize your strengths and how you can use them to address your challenges. I recognize your strengths. Point it out. Confirm it for others. I see this in you. Sometimes we hold back and we're a little quiet about that. But you know what? What happens when you get to tell somebody that? It inspires them. And it inspires you to work toward supporting them. And you don't have to work just supporting one person. Oh, all the energy I have is just to support you. Once I know your heart and I can support you and you, and so can you. Everybody in this room can support everybody in so many ways. You may not have the connection to go out and help them get dirt, but you might know somebody who does. As an example, I can hold you accountable without shaming or blaming you. I can hold you accountable without shaming or blaming you. I'm willing to do my part. I can genuinely thank you for your efforts rather than criticize you for your failings. I don't want to see that anymore here or anywhere I walk. I don't want to see anybody criticizing anyone or judging them. Would you like to see a world like that where we could just inspire each other and not criticize each other, not blame each other? Because I guarantee you everybody in here, everybody is doing the best they can do. We're living a good life. We're working to do and be everything that we know we can be, that's coming through us in that spirit of the Christ consciousness. Because as it comes through, do we always get it immediately? It takes a little bit of integration, doesn't it? It takes a little bit of time to integrate that energy that came from, and then to pull away from all the fears of being vulnerable so that it can just express itself. I genuinely thank you for your efforts rather than criticize you for your failings. I can talk about how resolving these challenges will lead you to growth and opportunity. And by us talking, we can do that. I can model the vulnerability and opportunities that I expect to see from you. I can model those as being an expression of you. For you are me and I am you. Let's look in the mirror. Let's look in that mirror. Next slide, please. I am looking at having to define my vulnerabilities toward a congregation that comes to me with lots of things, with people that, and a community. I'd rather call it a community than a congregation, but a community that comes with lots of things. And a year ago, it was literally a year ago, I was on this podium and I brought my dog here, and that dog, and I tell a story about how that dog inspired me to go out and talk to communities about community. Because I'd seen it working like I'd never seen anything in my life. People coming together and through their vulnerability, sharing with each other what their dreams were, and then everyone else in that community supporting those dreams. I'm not saying you can't do that. You're not worthy of that. You don't know what you're talking about. No. Whether they were young or not. They were supporting each other. We supported each other. And I saw more magic happen. And now I am seeing it here. I am seeing it here every day that I work here. I am seeing people walk in with lights that shine and support and love every single person in this place. Some of us are having to get through that. That's our vulnerability that we're trying to shine through. But I came up here, how much more evident can I be with my vulnerability when I walk up here with a dog beside me? And I walk in with a service animal that I've gone to get, that is part of my life now, because without her, I would not be here today. How much more clear could I have been in my statement of my vulnerability that I'm walking in here with my dog? And I'm creating a space where I feel like all life is welcome. Now, when we get here, we have to work through things like that, right? Because some people may have allergies, or some people may not like dogs. But when I walked in here to take this place, I was clear. So I want you to be clear in what you love and what you believe. Be willing to walk with us as we walk through these processes that are not always so easy, as we have to expand and grow with whatever we believe is ours. I'm holding a space. You see who I am. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to teach the way I teach. I got a review, and I didn't get it. We got it. And in the review somebody said, minister, rate this. And somebody wrote, Bates is not a minister, he's the spiritual leader there. I was like, oh, thank you for even making that clear in my head. I see it every day, but maybe people don't consider me a minister. I am okay with that. I'm not ordained with Unity, so you may not classify me as that. I'm okay, but I was hired here as your spiritual leader. There's a difference between a spiritual leader maybe and a minister to some people. But when I look at it, I can say, you're right, I am more of a spiritual leader. I am here to guide us forward. And it may not look like me sitting with you all the time, just rubbing your hand and loving you. I want to do that too, but maybe I'm not as good at that, right? Maybe Leroy's better at that. But that's called a ministry-led ministry, right? There are a lot of people that take the places doing the things that they're good at. And it's not all placed on your spiritual leader or your minister. I'm not here to do everything. You're not here to do everything. We're here to do the pieces of what we do together. And being able to be vulnerable like that and to speak these things, I think that's beautiful. So I ask you to speak your truths. Let's look at this last little slide here. I define vulnerability and uncertainty risk and emotional exposure. To be human is to be in vulnerability. It's powerful. So let's get ready to do our offertory prayer. Let's put our hands together and bring everything up. We'll do our tithes. And we'll feel that energy flowing. And remember, our tithes, it takes money to run this place. I'm asking you to open your hearts, tithe. This is not a Baptist reunion saying tithe, 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 tithe. I'm not doing that. But we know how it works. When we put the energy out, it comes back in. And we are at a place where we are growing and changing, and we could certainly appreciate your tithes, your time, your treasures, your talents, whatever that looks like to you. But we say thank you. And we say divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And so it is. Put our hands together. Our blessing and offering, we dedicate and consecrate these gifts of love to the will, way, and work of God. And so it is. And we say thank you. Namaste, namaskar. We got some visitors to welcome. I met Phil over at the gay and lesbian potluck that we do once a quarter. So thank you for coming in. I hope you don't mind me sharing that. It's good to have you with us. Do we have any more new visitors with us today? Oh, and tell me your name again. Mary. And Mary came is coming to our Thursday meditation Course in Miracles groups on Thursday with Mary Cincy on Thursday at 11. If any of you haven't had the opportunity to do that, please take that opportunity. It's so nice to have you with us. It really is. You walked in and your energy was beautiful that day, and I was so happy to see you here today. Let's go ahead and you will receive a packet, both of you, as we go out the door. Please make sure you have a packet, and if you don't, you can come to me. Then I think we've got some announcements. Would you like to start with yours?
Okay, a lot of you were here last week when we announced that several of us, Pat and I and Greg and Barbara and anybody else, hopefully Jillian will join, and anyone else that is available or would love to help us try to get a holiday bazaar for the second week of, it'd be at their church. We're going to hold it because it's going to be small. We still need 3 more small vendors. We've got one person Karen, that's going to be selling something. I make jewelry. Any other, we have Pat who does beautiful mosaics, and she's going to be doing. We're also going to have a silent auction. All the proceeds are going to our center. We're also going to get the kids involved. They're going to be selling maybe cookies or something. We're not sure yet. But if you would love to help us, or if you would like to be a vendor, we have a sign-up sheet outside. We would appreciate all of your help.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just proud and interesting to announce that November the 4th will be the first class of Mind, Body, and Spirit. Exercise, brain gym, and some inspirational things. So it'll be here at 10 o'clock on Saturday. So if you're going to shop that date or get out there and you're just kind of dragging, 10 o'clock Saturday, November the 4th. Love to see you come out.
Thank you.
Any other announcements? Okay, just check them out. We have a lot of things going on. We have potluck this Wednesday. We have a class after that. We have new member orientation coming up again this Thursday. And we have like 4 more people. That will be going through that. Next Saturday morning, this is important. We're having a breakfast and coffee meeting at Cabin Coffee to debrief on unity and diversity for 2018 and what happened in 2017. So we can see, do we want to move forward? What does that look like? Yes, sir.
What time is that breakfast?
That's at 10 o'clock. It is in the newsletter, so you can check newsletter and Facebook pages, so it's all there as well. So please come if you want to be involved again, because most people in the room were involved at that event. We have our town hall meeting next Sunday after this. And Claudia, just so you know, it's going to be a minute because we've got a couple of little things to do, so just be aware of that. We're having, at the same time we start our senior spa day, we're having a walk, like a 9-mile walk with the Massies, who are leading an adventure club that we're starting just to get us grounded. So you can either walk 9 miles or come in here and do some exercise, whichever way you want to do it, right? So let's move on. And we're gonna stop right there now a second. Now, y'all want to come up, you guys? It's so good to have you here. Come up here. I want y'all to come up here. I want everybody to see your beautiful faces. Oh, please, you guys hiding. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen, is you guys hiding. Okay, so if you don't want, Barbara, do you want to do the lesson from back there?
We've been talking about finding God, and we're trying to work today on finding God within ourselves through prayer, meditation, affirmation, decree. And so we've been working with learning how to relax our bodies, to connect and hook up, and to affirm with positive thoughts, and to celebrate, and to feel and expect gratitude. And that's what we want to do with all of our children. And we had 4 today, and we appreciate every one of them.
We love you guys. The littles. So today we have Lily. Is Aiden here today? So we have Lily and the littles here. They're called, just so you all know, they're called the littles because they have like 27 children. And this is, that does a little bit much, but these are the little ones, and so they call them the littles. So if you don't know all their names, you can say, oh, the littles here. So let's stand up and do our peace song today and get ready to bring in the great energy that's coming for yet another year. Let's all sing beautifully to each other and look in each other's eyes and just be grateful for what's happening. Be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Turn that up a little, Josh. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And I'll say the first verse of our prayer for protection, and then you'll say the second stanza. The light of God surrounds me.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds me.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects me.
I am the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over me.
I am the presence of God.
And together, wherever I am, God is, and all is well.